ソニック、本当にやるのか？ああ、俺は冒険が大好きなのさ。ソニック、
ソニックはアドベンチャーが好き。ソニックアドベンチャー。
Welcome back, Daddy. We were just discussing the .5s of the week, if I'm right.
Yeah, you know, like I said, .5s of the week. Anyway, man, it's just something else. You know, I really liked Dial H for Hero when I was a kid. That was one of the first comics that I ever bought. Was the old House of Mystery, Robbie Reed, you know, Hero Dial. You know, turning into Giant Boy and, you know, Licorice Lad and, you know, or Candy King, I'm sorry, Candy King, and then turning into old heroes like Plastic Man. Gee, I wonder where they got the idea for Ben 10 at. Must have been on the, I don't know, you know.
Yeah, it's really
Kid turning into other heroes. Anyway,
yeah.
Dial H for Hero is this week's barely passable comic. I don't, you know, and it's just barely passable, trust me. I don't understand the fascination with making heroes with problems, making them ugly, and making them, you know, like, you know, awful. I mean, you know, this guy is fat, grotesque, just worthless looking. He was just a worthless character. So anyway, I'm going to ruin the plot for you. While helping his friend, while Nels, I guess it's Nels, I don't know, you know, while Nels tries to help his friend Hirsch, he finds a phone booth with an old rotary dial, you know, like your grandma used to have. And in this old phone booth, the old rotary dial's in there, and you know, he turns into a mask-like character, and I mean, it's 100% almost a mask. I mean, it's just nobody thought up anything different. I've seen this before. Anyway, Nels goes, you know, beats up the bad guys. I'm sure he stuck a tailpipe. I'm sure that stuck a, I don't know, what was it, the mask? What was it, the mask? Muffler. He stuck a muffler up their tailpipes. I'm sure there was something like that in here because he's some kind of chimney sweep guy. Anyway, you know, he goes back to the phone. Nels goes back to the phone booth again the next day or the next night or something, and blammo! Again, he turns into another superhero, Captain Lacrimose. I guess he's like a misery-loving parasite, and he's just feeding off the bad guys. Anyway, what makes this comic passable? Brian Boland's artwork, and there's a weird little subplot in there that's kind of nice. You know, it's kind of different. There's little I can say to recommend this comic. China Mieville and Mattias Luco. Guys, start looking for other jobs, man. Subway's hiring. I don't look for this, you know, I don't look for this book to last that long. If it makes it past, you know, 6 issues, I'll be surprised. Book's, you know, just not that great, and it would probably be better as a solo and a backup book. Maybe in the back of, I don't know, DC Comics Presents, and maybe that's where it should have went. Because that seems to be where they put all their craptacular characters in artwork and stories that nobody seems to care about. Anyway, like I said, I really enjoy the whole Robbie Reed dial, and I was hoping that we'd see some of that in here, but obviously they wanted to go for the more Vertigo, darkness type thing, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm ready to get on to the good books. I mean, we had a lot of good books this week. Every book it seemed like I picked up besides these three were really good. I mean, I enjoyed them. And I don't know which one to tell you. I have a tie for number 1. And I'm going to start with Action. No, I'm good. I'm going to start with Action. I'm going to start with Action Comics. Grant Morrison wrote this story, and Gene Ha, who did a spectacular job on the Justice League number 7. It had to be 7. Yeah, it was 7. Who did a spectacular job on number 7, you know, did the artwork. And I got to say, his artwork improved 100%. Now, if Howard Porter could just do that, we'd be all right. Anyway, they did a real bang-up job on this issue. Most people I've heard were turned off a couple months ago when they saw the cover because they thought it was going to be the next Superman, or this was going to be your next Superman. And really and truly, I tried to explain to people, no, it's Superman of Earth 23, which makes sense, you know. Oh, man. Now, why did I like this book? From beginning to end, this Superman seems to be one you can care about. He seems quiet and reserved, and a man of many words when he does speak. A leader who cares about his people. Of course, he's also the president in the book too, so, you know. The origin of Calvin Ellis is essentially the same as Clark Kent. He, except, you know, except this Kal-El, without the hyphen, comes from the island of Vathlo, which, on Krypton, which just shows how much respect Grant Morrison has for the legend and the history and the mythos of Superman, which is awesome. Luthor is once again shown to be the mad, hatred-driven, mad scientist, which is awesome, which is what Luthor should be. In one scene, Luthor thanks Superman, who states, "Don't patronize me. I'll kill you one day." And then in another, Luthor tells Superman to kill a villain, and while you're at it, kill yourself too. Which is perfect Luthor. I mean, perfect. I miss this Luthor already. Now, once again, Grant Morrison has created a great supervillain, like he did with Solaris and a lot of his Justice League bad guys that came out. And I mean, look at the stuff that this man's done. All-Star Superman was spectacular. His Justice League run was spectacular. His Doom Patrol run was spectacular. Everything this man has done, except for probably Final Crisis, which I think was written over most fans' heads, he's done a spectacular job, you know, at DC. And you got to hand it to him. Really and truly, some days I keep thinking maybe he should be the chief creative officer in charge. I don't know, but some days. Anyway, this man who created Solaris has created a great supervillain in the Superman of, I'm not sure what Earth it is, but he's a corporate-built, faceless, violent anti-hero, a global marketing icon on a parallel Earth. Now this Superman, this evil global icon, has followed Jimmy Olsen, Clark Kent, and Lois Lane to Superman's Earth of Earth 23. Which, I'm not going to tell you what happens, but you really need to read this book. You know, one thing that Lois tells Superman of Earth 23 is that on this parallel Earth, everybody wears the brand of this anti-hero global icon Superman. How creepy is that? Just great. I mean, just great Grant Morrison work. You need to get this book, I'm telling you. But anyway, got this one. And then there's a second story by Sholly Fish and Cully Hamner, which isn't bad. It's just basically what Superman would do if he was... Let me go back. Let me retrace this. It's basically what a Superman would do if he was on our Earth right now and had to, you know, had the whole Iran nuclear, you know, uranium enrichment nuclear power plant. If he, you know, was real. And I gotta say, the story's okay. I mean, it takes place in Korak, which, you know, is okay. It's, once again, it's okay. And if you've lived under a rock the last year, you know Iran is making all these, you know, threats that they're going to enrich uranium and they're going to use it on this and they're going to do that. Well, that's basically, again, what this story is about. And, you know, like I said, it's okay, but this story here by Grant Morrison is excellent. Anyway, we'll be right back.
After these messages.
We'll be right back.